Okay, go ahead. Samuel, you go ahead and introduce yourself. Samuel, can you hear us?
Yeah. Hello?
Hi, Zainab. How are you?
Yeah. How are you, ma?
Good, good. How are you?
Huh?
Thank God.
Samuel, can you hear us?
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you now.
You can hear me now. Okay, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Samuel Ansmana Kuma, a student from Jala University, pursuing business and information technology from Sierra Leone.
And then maybe Samuel, if you can tell them kind of about what you're doing with your business in the printing.
What?
If you want to say a little bit about your business, the printing company you have and why you started it, things like that.
Okay, right. I think that's a great opportunity given. Yeah, I just have to anyway. Meanwhile, I started my business when I was year one. Right? I came across doing it second semester because of the lot of constraints we are having and students we are having, not even students me as well, because going far from your parents, maybe what you have will not be enough for you enough. So I decided, my own money, I decided to bring up a printing of photocopying machine on campus.
Hello?
I
Yeah.
decided to call on students' attention in relation of my price down. Of majority of the students, I introduced my business at my class. I created some different flyers of which I different class heads in order to draw the attention of my business. And as of now, like to say, as of now, my business is going gradually because coming for research gives me a lot of headache because I'm thinking of being on campus. I'm having some little bit cash at my hand because doing my printing constantly people are coming in. And yet, even on my own side, I'm doing my printing as well. So I believe working as work to create a stationary store, I believe that's my dream. Even campus or on campus or out of campus, because I've worked towards my business plan of which I wanted to a stop station at O and Kenema. Because due to the constraint here as well, I've done my survey, I've did my research with my team, with Alasan, of which really we're going to work towards that. Just that we are putting some mechanism in place in order for the business not to fall at an early age. So we want to put things in proper place for my business to establish at Bo and Kenema as well. So I'm working on it gradually.
Okay, thank you, Samuel. Zainab, can you introduce yourself and talk a little bit about, the business you have and the business you would like to grow? Zainab, can you hear us? Okay, maybe she can't hear us. Oh, okay, there she is.
Yeah. name is Zainab Kamara. I am pursuing forestry in Jala University College from Sierra Leone.
Great. Can you talk about the business you have? You know, when you started it, and then the one you want to grow. I know you talked a lot about commercial farming. Ameth actually is in commercial side, but on investor project management side of it.
Wow. Like the last time, I'm trying to say about the plantation forest.
Mhm.
Now, presently, I'm doing my cosmetic and provision business. But in the near future, I thought it fit that after my course, when I have been graduated, instead of searching for job, I think I can create job on my own by establishing my own plantation forest.
That's excellent. Thank you. Okay, Adikali, can you introduce yourself? And then if there's any existing business or future business you plan on building? You're on mute. Hold on, you're still on mute. So you have to unmute yourself. We can't hear you. Okay, you're talking, but we can't hear you, sorry. Okay, unmute yourself though. No, not now. Uh, no, unmute yourself. We can't hear you. I know you're talking, but unfortunately we can't hear you. So can you unmute yourself? I can't unmute you, I can just. Okay, we can hear you now, go ahead.
My name is Adikali by Kamara, pursuing BSc in BIT, Jala University. Now my business plan here is I'm doing some little reselling business at my own community, selling tiles, mats, and other things. So, but I have little constraint, which is financial support. So I've been started the business from since JSST up to now. So I'm doing the business, but that is my little concern that I'm going to financial support, and then I want to establish the business in all sectors of our country, west, north, south, east. So that is my plan. So I can rest my case there.
Okay, well, thank you.
Okay, thank you too.
Thank you. Okay, so let's talk, and Ameth, feel free to just chime in here. So the business plan I sent you guys, I just want to go over it really quickly because I think some people are not answering it the way it's kind of meant to be. So it's a template, okay? So you're gonna put your company name. This is the company you plan on building. When it says your tagline logo, that's only if you have an idea for what you want the company to say, or if you already have a design for the logo, the year you prepared it, so that would be 2021. And then your contact information, like your name, website, you don't have to have a website, but just put website, your phone number, the address. And then this is really what you're doing, right? You're writing an executive summary. The best thing to do about the executive summary is do it last, because the executive summary is just a summary of everything you already put together. First, you want to start with like, what are the opportunity? What's the problem, solution, or opportunity you're talking about? The target market, competition. Then you're looking at the marketing and the sales operations, major milestones, meaning what are the first key things that you're going to accomplish that will make a dent in your business? And then how are you going to measure it with your metrics? The company, it's really, you want to put an overview of like yourself, the team, you know, let us know like years of experience, type of knowledge, expertise, and then your financial plan. So you're talking about forecasting and financing. This is, today we'll just talk about a high level. As you guys develop your plan individually, we'll go through it together to discuss more in detail, like how to fix and update your business plan. And then we'll walk through it so that each of you walk away with a business plan that makes a lot of sense, okay? So like I said, the executive summary is really I always tell people to do this last because you're summarizing your whole business plan in this part, right? You're saying what's the problem solution, what's the market, the competition, why you, meaning why your team, the expectations, forecasting, in terms, this is your financials, and then the financial highlights by the year. So you want to start in the year you start, and you want to try to project at least 3 years. So if you start in year 1, what's your revenue? What's your expenses and costs, net profit and net loss? We'll go through this like next time, really breaking down. I'll bring someone to talk to you guys more about the financial highlights and someone who can really give you a deep understanding of the financials for your business plan. But for today, I definitely want you guys to make sure you're looking at, right? We talked about entrepreneurship being not just an idea or a person, but someone that solves a problem or takes advantage of an opportunity in the market or provides for a need, right? Sometimes we have needs and no one is solving that need or providing us that need. Entrepreneurs are the ones who say, oh, you know, I see this gap in the market. I think last time we talked, you guys said that there isn't a local software company. So that's a gap in the market. That's a need. There are companies locally who need software designed for them. And it's expensive if they go overseas or if they go into neighboring countries. So it would make sense for someone to open a software company, right? So you're really talking about the problem. When you talk about the problem, make it real, right? Like, how do you see the problem? What's the point of contact? Like, how are you understanding this problem to come about? If you can find research or data based on your home country or your market, then please include it, right? What does the customer need? Do they need a better product? If they need a better product, does it need to be cheaper, more expensive? Like, really talk about the problem. Then talk about your solution, right? This is where you kind of do a mini executive summary on your business idea. Like, what is the solution to solve the problem, or what is the thing that you're bringing to the market? Ameth, do you have anything to say about? Feel free to chime in if there's things you think need to be said.
Yeah, you want me to talk something about this?
Yeah, sure. If you have something you want to say about it.
Yeah, as you said, problem solving is something really important because as an entrepreneur, you need to identify a problem, okay? You need to see something that is not going as it should be in your society or in your community, and then you bring in the solution. So entrepreneurs, as Ellen said, are those who come with solutions, okay? Those who can definitely bring some innovations in terms of changing the life their community used to do. And the other thing is about the target markets. So you need, of course, to know what is your target, okay? Your business solution may not be designed for the entire population, okay? It may be really customized into one segment of your society, be it students at your university, be it local farmers or local traders in your town, in your city. So it really needs to be designed for a specific segment. And if you don't know that segment, so you may not be able really to scale it up or to make it so concise that it fits what you want to do, okay? So the target is definitely something really relevant in the work that you'll be doing. Yes.
Yeah, I agree with you. The target market is very important because it dictates and it tells you how much income you can make, right? If your target market's small, then you have to figure out, does this number sustain your business over years and years? If your target market is large, so some businesses will say, I want to cover all of Africa. That's not realistic unless they have the capacity. But maybe they say, I want to target youth between ages 18 and 25 who speak French and are located in Africa. Then that would be a Francophone target market. The numbers are very large for that. And then they can do the research to say, in Sierra Leone, this is the number. In Togo, this is the number. In Senegal, this is the number. In Ivory Coast. So then they can be very practical about their numbers. So even if you can't find it or Google it, you can do some of your own initial research locally with the people in your target market and see if it makes sense. Try to be as close as possible to like, what is the age, what is the gender, what is the interest, the education level, the hobbies, whatever specific to your target market. So Samuel, for example, right now your target market is college students. So you can say, you know, students at university from age 18 to 29 in this region of Sierra Leone. Maybe it covers 6, 7 universities, right? Then that's very targeted. And then you can say education level, maybe it's freshman through senior year who have a need to print. That's very targeted, right? And your business plan grows over time too, right? Right now you're just developing for the business you have in mind, but over the years you can tweak it, markets change, your needs as a company change, you know, once you actually start growing into the business, that will require change. Competition is important because it teaches you how other people are doing the same work, right? So it's not just for the sake of who's competing against me, but it's also how can I learn to do better than them? Like, what are they doing right and what are they not doing right that I can do better? So you want to, when they say current alternatives, that means who else would they buy if they're not buying from you, right? So if you're a printing company, what other printing companies serving the same population in the same area are there? Is there 3 companies? If there are the 3 companies, then you need to describe them. Company A, this number of staff, they service this age group, they service these universities, they do this, this, and the other. And then what is there? And then once you finish there, then you want to talk about, after you understand who your target competition is, also try to identify at least 3 competition. Anybody who tells you I have no competition in the market, 9 out of 10 times doesn't know what they're talking about. There's always competition in the market. There's always someone doing something similar. Maybe not exactly, maybe they're doing it in the neighboring market, but there's still competition because they can expand and come into your market, right? And then also you can learn from them. And then after you understand your current competition, then you want to understand your own advantage. Based on these competition, what is the advantage that your company has against these competitors? Are you going to provide better customer service? Is your product cheaper? Is your service more faster? Like, can they expect more quality? What are you doing better against this competition? Ameth, do you want to add anything else?
Yeah, as you said, competition is always existing. It is a natural phenomenon in business. So as you said, anyone who tells you that I don't have competitors is not seeing really the moon, as they said it, the saying says. So you have to face the competition, and that's from where you will add a value to what is existing. What is your specific, contribution, and what is the difference that will push people to choose your product or your business instead of others? Okay, and you need to be documented. Most of the time you may think that you are the only one who is working on the product on the sector, but if you make some researches, so you will realize that people are really working on it. And then it doesn't mean that you will not work on it, but it helps you to better see how you'll be working on the product or on the sector or on the business that you really want to implement. But you need also to know what are the strengths and the weaknesses of your competitors, okay, and in which domain can you really outpace them. So you need really to know your competitors, what they are doing, where they are working, where they fail to deliver. This is really important when you are working on when you are doing business. And as she said, there are always competitors, right?
Yep, I agree. Okay. So then once you understand your competition, once you understand the problem solution, then you want to start thinking, okay, so now I know what the product or the service I offer, how do I get this to the people, right? So you want to start writing a sales and a business plan. The difference between, I'm sorry, a marketing and a sales plan. Your marketing plan is explaining to you, right, how you're going to get people to understand about your product to the audience, to your target market. What kind of advertising are you going to do? What kind of content? Like if you're going to use social media to talk to them, what kind of stories are you going to tell? What is the plan here? You need to describe it. So maybe you say, we're going to, our marketing plan to talk about our product and our business is going to leverage social media. If we use social media, maybe we use Facebook, Instagram, and maybe Twitter. The reason you use those three may be because your target market uses those places the most. Or maybe you do a billboard, an ad, something where, you know, it's at the university. Maybe you have flyers across the university. However, the whole point of the marketing plan is how are you going to get the information about your business, your product to your people, the exact people, right? The sales plan is a little different. The sales plan is how do you close the deal? So now after you market it to the person, after you talk to these people about your business idea, how do you close the deal, right? You know, how do you convert a conversation into a paying customer? So, you know, Samuel, for example, or Adikale, like your businesses are physical product businesses. You're selling tires, you're selling printing, even Zainab, your business is you're selling products. So once you identify the people who will buy the products and you market to them and you show them, hey, this business exists and this is what I want to do, then once they come to you, how are you closing the deal, right? Like, how do you document that process? How do you convert that relationship? You know, also, this is where you also want to start understanding like your sales plan, like your numbers, you know. Ameth, do you have anything else you want to add to it?
Yeah, definitely. The marketing also, I think that's what makes a business live actually. So if you don't have a marketing plan, you know, on which you can rely to advertise your product, also you may be failing. So it's a part of the process to be able to market the product. And the trend right now is the social media, as you said, being on Facebook, on Twitter, or whichever platform you have that you can market your product, okay? But also it depends on the area from which you are operating, okay? And also the tools also depends really on probably your financial assets. If you are you have strong financial assets, or if you are a medium-sized business that need to spend modestly, you know, the resources that you have. So if you want to advertise your product via a local radio, or if you want to have a big, you know, network from which you can operate or communicate. So it depends really, the tools, the community in which you are living, your financial resources, and also, you know, depending also on the trending, because as you know, in Africa right now, the trend is the social network. And if you have a company, you need its digital presence everywhere. And part of the game is really how to sketch out marketing plan that is really responding to your needs. And the sales also, part of the game is to market, but part of the game also is to be able to close deals, as Helen says. And you need to establish a climate of confidence of, you know, you need to be trustworthy, and also need to know how to convince the person that this is really the product that he needs to buy. And then also to entertain us kind of fidelity, so with your customer, so that he or she will come back in another occasion to buy the product. But after marketing, you need also a strategy to close deals, and this is also part of the process.
Right, exactly. Okay, so then you want to get into your operations, right? Basically, this is in-house. How does all of this work together, right? So location and facilities is like, where are you going to, maybe where are you going to start? First start, where are you going to start? Are you going to start from your house? Do you have a storefront? Do you have an office? Do you need storage for some of the equipment? Do you need manufacturing? Whatever is relevant to your business, you know, how much of the time do you need it? How available? How is it going to meet your current needs, right? So right now, maybe you have 3 printers that can sit at home and you can take it to campus, but maybe you're projecting after a year of business, you may need to buy 2 big printers. Then you may need to say, okay, I need to have a deal with the university where I can have, you know, a printer at each school, right? So you have to think through those things, like, because if you don't think through it now, when the time happens, you won't be prepared to execute on it. I'll give you guys an example. For us, because of Corona, because we always kind of worked remote, we never really had too much of an issue translating the Corona problem, because we always had an office downtown, but we use that office mainly just to host events. We use it when visitors come to take them to lunch. We use it. We don't use it to have our team sit and work every day. Most of our team is in different parts of the state, parts of the country, parts of overseas. So we typically as a team used to work like this anyway. So it was easy for us to like save money, close the office during Corona because nobody was meeting in DC. Plus it's in a very busy corporate side of DC that nobody was at. So we saved a lot of money. But now that I'm back in DC, we opened a co-working space at a place called The Yard recently. It did, because I looked at it, instead of spending all this money just to have an office, I would rather spend, you know, a little bit of money to have a co-working space. That way, if someone does need to meet, then we can use the conference rooms, the office. They have venues. It's a really nice location. It's perfect. It's by the Capitol. So I was thinking like, you know, and it's going to change as environments change. You may go from a big office to a small office, from a small office to a large office, but it's really about, why do you need it? Does it make financial sense? And does it serve the purpose? Because we're a services company, we don't have anything physical we sell, right? So I don't need large storage facility. I don't need a manufacturing plant. All I need is like a place 2 people can sit and Wi-Fi. And nowadays with Wi-Fi, you can get Wi-Fi anywhere in the world, right? So for us, it's really about serving, because we do get a lot of people that come from out of the country or out of town. So we want to make sure we can take them somewhere nice. So, you know, even just to have coffee or just to meet with us one-on-one. So we got that space. So it's really thinking short-term, long-term, you know, how am I going to grow? What do I need this space to do? And then the location, if you're selling something, the location will determine the business's success 9 out of 10 times. If you are a restaurant, hospitality, certain industries, it's all about the location, because how much traffic goes into that space to get you people that will walk by and say, oh, I want to eat here, I want to drink here, I want to purchase from this store. A lot of businesses, not because they were great businesses, failed because they had poor locations. And so you have to study your area to understand how many people come here every day, every week, every month. And from that number of people, how many people are going to need my product, my service, and how many of those people are going to stop in my store? What do I need to do to attract them inside the store? Those are where you're talking about. And then in technology, so technology is the back end, right? So for us, we have a technology partner, a company we hired that basically, because we're on our computers all day, I don't have time for my computer to freeze or have issues with my computer. So I pay, every month I pay for this technology company to make sure that if my computer, you know, freezes, if my computer loses a file, if my computer needs to update, if my computer gets hacked, they manage this, right? Because I'm on my computer basically every day for at least 12 hours a day, just doing work, right? Even if I'm not in a meeting. So I need to make sure that my computer is very healthy, it's very safe, plus secure, because we get documents from government officials that are very sensitive. So I need to make sure that nobody's hacking it, right? So the technology is important, but the technology, also the software, are you using Google? Are you using a different kind of technology? You know, how does it help support your business? Do you have a sales system? Do you use a website? You have to think about, what do I need just for myself? What does the business need? What are the technologies in the back and in the front? You know, can I do and manage this by myself? Or do I need a team? Like, you need to think through those. The last part of it is equipment and tools, right? For me, my number one equipment is my laptop and my phone. If I have my laptop and my phone, I can make anything happen for me. I don't need anything else, right? Because everything is stored online. It's stored on the cloud, it's stored in a drive, it's stored in a folder, it's stored somewhere, so I can access it from anywhere. I just have to make sure I have a healthy working computer and a phone that works, right? That's connected to my email. So, but for other companies, you may need physical products, right? Like you may need, like Sam, I think you might need inkjets, printers, paper, all these things. For IIII, you might need an actual tire. You may need, you know, other things that are, you know, in that line of work. For Zainab, you are a products company right now. So these are the tools you're going to need, you know? So you need to think through, what are all the pieces of equipment I need? What are all the tools I need to make everything work, right? So Zainab, in the back, I can see that you have like rows, right, to hold everything. So you have to think about how many of those, you know, desks, how many desks do I need? How many chairs do I need? How much does it cost me? Those are all the things you're thinking about, right? That's your operations. Ameth?
Yeah, operations. I think probably one thing that needs to. I mean, in Africa, most of the time it's about the equipment and the technology, you know, the facilities that you will be using. So the first mistake most of the time entrepreneurs make in Africa is to think that the logistics, bright new facilities is the first thing to have. So they are very important, but as Helen said, you have to measure them up with your capacities, okay? So entrepreneurship is about making money. And if you want to make money, you need to know how to save money. So if you have an equipment that is really costly and which maybe you don't need, in a very urgent way, so why not postpone it until next year, until 2 years after? So start with, the tools that you need, okay, the basics that from which you can work and do an excellent job. But if you are thinking too much about, the facility, maybe I need bright, offices in which I will work alone. So you don't have the financial capacity yet. So, okay, co-working would be a good thing. I have seen across Africa that in many African countries or in many cities, you have co-working spaces from which you can operate, okay? You can even start being a virtual business, when you have a meeting, why not you can have it in a restaurant, okay? You don't still have the office, but you cannot go on a restaurant, or you have a corporate meeting, so you just rent a co-working, or you just rent an office in Freetown or in any other big capital city. You will find them, and then you use it for 2 hours, and then the day is done. So and you look at the next step. So definitely the facilities, it's really important, the equipment, but think about what they will cost for you, okay? I have seen a lot of African entrepreneurs who have benefited from grant prizes, and then, the way they spent it was not very wise, because they spent too much money on the equipment and they don't, think a lot about investing, okay? And this is something that we need to take into consideration. And also technology, I think it's a must. Your laptop, you need to have these basic things. Maybe a website, why not? So these are really things that makes you credible. But apart from them, I think you have to operate from what you have, and step by step you move on. Right.
Right. And you're right. A lot of people, they will get funding and then they will overspend because they think, oh, I need everything new. And actually, No, reinvest it back in your team, reinvest it in things that matter and will help you grow versus the fancy, nice looking things, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, your job is to make something grow. Okay, this next step is milestones and metrics. This is very important because this is where you set your goals. So when they say a milestone, it is from point A to point B, and can you celebrate point B, right? So it's really saying when I first set up the business, maybe the first milestone is to maybe close the first 10 people. That might be 10 customers, then that might be the first milestone. The second milestone, maybe to hire your first administrative person or whatever. Just make sure that they are goals you can reach and you have thought about how to get there. It's not just setting a milestone and walking away. It's setting a goal and then asking yourself, okay, how do I get there? So if the first is to sell to 10 people, you know, one, is that 10 people in your target market? Two, what are you doing to advertise to them to get them to buy something, right? Three, what was the selling process? Document your selling process, because if you do a good job, you can then teach your team that same process. And then the third is, how are you measuring it, right? So once you understand your key milestones, right, for year one, for year two, for year three, and they should constantly be growing, right? Those milestones. The metrics is the things you can measure, right? About how successful is your business? How is it growing? So for me, every year, at the end of every year, I look at the business and I do two things. One, I look at our numbers, right? Did we sell more in this year than last year? If we did, then that's the first checkpoint to say we're succeeding or we're growing, right? If we sold less, then there's a problem because we're supposed to be growing, right? Two, I look at our overall operations. Did we get better in the way we operate? Did we cut out places and things and situations and conversations that don't help us? It doesn't make us any money. It doesn't serve us any benefits. There's no value to it. And then I look at team, like what kind of team did we have this year? And is that team growing, doing better? Even though my people are 1099 contractors, that means they're not full-time. They work on project by project. But even for every person that works on a project, I assess them to say, hey, did they do a good job in this project? Was my customer happy, right? If I did, then I keep the same people moving forward because I know they're gonna do good work. And then I look at how can I make it better for them? Can I find them more projects? Can I pay them a little bit better? You know, can the next contract compensate them in a different way? Whatever. And then the last thing I look at is where did I waste a lot of time? If you assess yourself, you'll realize that every year you probably can learn something from your experience. The first 3 years of business, I used to go from January 1st to December 31st just through my emails. And I would see how many wasted times I emailed people about nothing, right? They asked me something, I tried to help them, they got nothing, I got nothing, they didn't pay. Then I started realizing I'm talking to the wrong audience. Like if I want to get a project done from a government agency or a business, I'm talking to a middle person. That person doesn't close the deal. So I'm wasting my time. So I stopped doing that. I stopped talking to the middle, right? And I only started talking to the people who know how to make a deal close. And that helped a lot. Or I started positioning myself with companies who are very large and already have contracts. And so I can then subcontract for them. It will help them, it will help me, it will build performance, everything else. So you have to build metrics. You have to figure out, how do I measure my success? What am I going to look at myself, at my company, at my operations, on my sales, in my goals, that I can say, hey, we did a good job, we did a better job, we did a poor job, we can do better here. Like, you have to measure yourself. If you're not measuring yourself, then you can't tell if you're growing or you're not growing, right? Because you can't do it based on your emotion. It doesn't work. Ameth?
Yeah, the milestones and the metrics, it's about planning. Actually, what are your set goals, objectives? I mean, in a span of time, probably in 1 year, or it depends on your strategic planning. But one thing is sure is that it helps you measure, assess how far you have gone, what has worked and what has not worked. So there is nothing but about setting milestones and not being even able to reach them. But it shows you where you missed the point, and where you can, if you just get past of the milestone, so you can celebrate. So it means that you have reached the point. If you have not, so you can still adjust yourself and see where it did not work and try to correct, and just then move forward. And it's also about being really paying attention to the details, okay? As he said. So the metrics, you can have charts, comparisons, you can have data, okay? And try to put them on the table and try to really to see inside these items, this data. So it's something also necessary. If you don't have it, so you cannot see where you have gone, definitely. And step by step. So this is your milestone. So be realistic also when you are setting them, okay? Don't be, in the sky thinking that everything, you can get there overnight. So set realistic goals, simplify them as much as you can, and then when you get to the point, you move to the next, okay? And keep also your data, your everything that you have recorded, okay? And sometimes spend time thinking over it, okay? Trying to assess it, okay? And I think that's the one of the best option that you can have. Yeah.
Yep. And then this part is, that's good. Your company, right? So when we talk about your company, we're talking about who owns this company. Do you have business partners? What is the structure, right? How are you going to register it? You also need, before you register your business, understand the regulatory environments, the compliance, the laws in your sector, right? Don't just go register something and say, and then later you're like, what? I didn't know I needed this insurance. I didn't know I couldn't do this. I didn't know I couldn't ship to this country. Then you create a lot of problems for yourself that maybe you're not capable of handling. So do your research, figure out before I did my research in the US, there's LLC, INC. I chose the LLC because it's limited liability. That means if there's like a risk involved, you cannot sue me, the individual, you will sue the company. So, and the company's assets, not me, right? So I chose that model. I chose to register in DC versus another state, but I also have another business that's registered in Texas. So I look at the markets, the tax benefits, what are the compliance issues, what do I need to get done, and what is the best state or best city, best location offering me that, and then that's how I register. So I typically also go talk to an attorney, an accountant, someone. Maybe you don't have an attorney available, maybe you don't have an accountant available. You can still Google, you can still reach out to people like myself, Ameth, and all the other guys you talked to before, and ask them questions because they've already done it and they've done the research. Plus, do the research, right? So figure out also, if you're going to have a partner, you cannot do the thing of you're my friend, I'm my friend, and we're gonna go be partners and that's it. You need to have a very clear understanding. What do you bring to the table? What do I bring to the table? What is your role? Are you focusing on operations and I'm focusing on partnerships and growing the business and the day-to-day work? Are you focusing on technology? What is your strength? Have a very clear understanding about what each person brings and then the level of effort. Like, how much are they going to contribute? Just because they're your friend does not mean everything is 50-50, or your brother, your cousin, your neighbor, whoever. If they're only contributing 30% effort, 30% time, 30% labor, then it should reflect that it is 30% ownership. And you need to have a document written between the two of you about this business, and in your plan, you need to talk about the same structure here. And then when it comes to management team, then you need to make sure it's very clear for title, for roles, for responsibility, who does what. Because one of the biggest reasons companies fail is partnerships dissolve. People will get into fights. It will destroy friendships. It will destroy relationships. I mean, I've seen it. It's happened for me. So now my company is a single party company, meaning I'm the 100% owner of it. But that does not mean I don't partner with other organizations. I partner with people like Ameth and others. And we just have a very clear understanding and expectation about who's doing what, right? But when it comes to ownership, it's very different because that is the day-to-day part of your business. So be very clear about that, understand all of those pieces before spending the time and money to register. Once you register and you start building your team, who do you have available to support you? Everybody does not have to be the perfect person because you're not the perfect person, right? We don't all start business with all of the skills we have. Now, like 5 years, 6 years later, you have way more skills because you have more practice. But understand the skills you have. So if you know I'm a great salesperson, I'm a great marketing, but I'm really bad at numbers and I'm really bad at financials, then you need to figure out how do I help get people around me, either in an advisor role or in a partner role or in a team member role or in a volunteer role to help me solve some of those issues. So really think about the skills needed for your business and think about how do I get the right people there. And it's not just saying, hey, can you help me? It's being very clear. If you want them to be active in the business, being very clear what the expectation is. If they're just a volunteer and this is for them to help because they want to help you, great. If this is more of an advisor role, advisor is someone who can mentor you, who can be an investor, who can be, who was a former professor, someone who has industry expertise, knowledge, counselor. You want people in your advisor role, maybe 3 to 4 people even from different areas. So that way, when you have issues around the market, you can go to person A. If you have issues around maybe financial conversations, go to person B. But be very clear. In your management team, it's more about skills, like what are the skills that they're bringing to produce the product and the service, and then be very clear. What are the skills, the experiences, the past performances? What can they do very, very well? Because your people buy based on the team. They invest based on the team. If they see that you're a strong leader, you have a strong team, they're more likely to trust you to do the work than if they see that you don't know what you're talking about, your team looks fractured, you don't have the supporting relationships, it's going to be very hard for you. So you need to start identifying the gaps that you need and then start trying to find, and then be very clear. Again, do not just be like, come help me, right? What are they helping? What are they doing? What are they getting back in return? Are you giving equity in your company? Are you, when revenues come in, do you share revenues? Do you pay them cash up front? Do you have some other kind of deal that you will have structured for them? Are they getting experience? What? Be very clear about that. But this company overview, really think about it. Really think very seriously about it, because your business can grow fast if you have the right team, but it can also be closed very quickly if you have the wrong team. Ameth?
Yeah, definitely. That's essential. The company itself, how you design it. As you said, you need to know the type of company that you want to establish. Otherwise, in the future, you may have some problems, and then looking back, you will tell yourself, look, at that time I did not realize, I did not know that that will be the situation I will be facing. And part of it is asking about informations, getting informed about the business law in your country, for instance, or the business environment in your country before starting, or even appealing to the support of more experienced people who can tell you these are the possibilities, And then the last choice, it's up to you. But at that time, you will know the stakes, okay? You know about everything that is, involved if I have a type A or type B or type C company. And as she said also, the shareholding, this is really a problem nowadays, especially in Africa. We have a climate in which no one trusts the other. So better define clearly the things before you move, okay? Because sometimes when you are working with people, so they don't talk about it, the shareholding, okay? How much I own in the company and how much you own, because at that time, so they did not see the result. But when the results start coming out, so that's where the problem starts, okay? So define it at the beginning. If even it's someone from your family or someone you met at the university and you start working together, so just define things clearly, so that you not have a problem after. As she said, she has witnessed a lot of disputes and arguments about company ownership and so on. And you can avoid this by stating clearly things at the beginning. And the managerial skills, so this is about your leadership skills. So you will not the one who knows about everything. It's impossible. It's impossible. So you will have people in your cycle, in your business, so that you need to empower. Okay, the one is good at accounting, another one is good at prospecting. So you are good at your specific domain. Okay, and the thing is that when you have someone that you add and that you give all the motivations, that he can also gives you the best of him or herself. So that's really where you can move on. And then also advisors, yes. So you need constantly people to advise you. Okay, you can have mentors, you can have friends, from whom you met at the university or in your professional life. But take advice as much as you can, and then you can have that broad idea about how you will set your company and how you will run it.
Yep. And then this, let's see, I think financial plan is the last part. Okay, so this part is actually very important because you have to start thinking about how much, you have to know your number, right? Like if it costs you have to do the basic math, like the 1 + 1 type of thing. If it costs you, $5 to buy the product or to make the product, you have to think about how, first of all, you have to do your expenses. Like if you have an office, if you have a team, if you have people you pay for, if you have lights, if you have Wi-Fi, if you have a generator, any of that, right? Figure out what those numbers are. What is every month? How much money do you spend on every single item? Once you figure that out, now you kind of have a baseline number that says, and by the end of the month, I have to pay all of this off, right? Then you need to figure out how much your product is, right? And then once you figure out the product cost, now you have to start thinking, how much can I upcharge? But what is the market price in the market? That's where your research comes in. Because if you charge too high, nobody will buy it because it's too far away from what people can afford. If you charge too low, then maybe you're not making enough money off of it to cover your expenses. So it's a delicate thing where you have to understand how the market treats your product and your service. You have to figure out what the average price is. And then you have to figure out your own expenses to run and operate a business. What kind of margins are you looking for? Meaning how much are you trying to profit, right? Like, is it normal or customary in your market to have maybe 5 to 10% margins? Is it 10 to 20? Is it 30 to 40? What is it? Understanding that. And then that's when you start building, like every month, based on how much we can produce per month, based on how many sales we think we expect to have. Then maybe in month 1, we sell 20,000. In month 3, we sell 60. In month 10, we try to get to 100. In month 12, maybe we get to 120, right? So you got to start doing this. The financial pieces are very important because I would say start with just your expenses first, the direct costs and the expenses. like direct costing, what do you have to pay outright? And then your expenses are like, what are the additional expenses, rents, utilities, whatever. It's so important. Like I learned this later because I'm not a finance person. I didn't come from this background. I just knew how much I can charge for myself. And then I realized I was undercharging, right? Like I wasn't charging enough. So I have had to change my price model almost like 7 times just to get to a decent number because I thought I was helping people, but then people were like, you're giving too much value, but you're not getting the same amount of price back. So I had to learn that. And then also my expenses, I always keep them low because I don't see the point of just having unnecessary expenses. And then your net profit. So you're looking at the end of the year, after my losses, after everything, how much do I expect to make in year 1, year 2, year 3? We'll do a bigger, like conversation. I'll have somebody else come in to talk because I'm not big on the finance side, but I'll have someone else to come talk to you guys more about the finance piece. But Ameth, you want to add anything on the financial forecast, financial model?
Yeah. I use it also to say that I'm not good at figures.
Yeah.
But when you are an entrepreneur, the least, attitude you should have is that sometimes also to think about, or not sometimes, but day by day, think about how the finances are going in your business. And it's everything is about consistency, okay? You might not be someone who is well versed into finance or something like that, but it should be consistent, okay? Every expense you do, is it reasonable or not? Is it appropriate or not? And then you can manage, the way you are spending and reduce it as much as you can. If you can reduce and put aside useless expenses or something that you don't really need, so that's the time to do it. Compare also what you are spending and the revenue that you are generating, the income that you are generating. And from month to month or from week to week, you can make comparisons. If you have, moved to another point, or if there are some, decrease in your financial operations. So you need to know. And then if you want, even you can have in your team someone who is, well versed in finance, can explain you about, the cost, the operation that you are carrying out, the product. If you have a supply chain, what are the risks? What are the products that you need to buy before if you need to process them? So the depreciation cost of your facility, in your office, your laptop or something like this. So all this is about finance. There is some parts that may be complicated, like taxation and all this, that sometimes you need to have an expert to help you out. But the basics you need to know, okay? We all know how to see if we have gains or not. If what we are spending is higher than what we are taking as in terms of income or things like this. So do the basics, make your comparisons, you know where you want to go. And if it's complicated, maybe you can find someone in your staff or take an expert who can help you out, or even an advisor who can help you out about your financial analysis.
Great. Do you guys have any questions about kind of the way this business plan model works? So and then once you finish all of that, go back and just summarize everything you said under your executive summary, right? Under the problem, just write a brief, why your business exists, solution, the market, all of that, just a short version of this longer page. You just want to do that in the executive summary. And then when you're done with it, just make sure you send it to me. And then we'll go through it. Do you guys have any questions about the business plan? Okay. All right. So Ameth, go ahead and take it away. Do you want me to pull up your presentation?
Yeah, of course, if you want.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you again. So I think I don't need to introduce myself again. So we are going to save time. I think that Ellen asked me to talk about my journey as an entrepreneur, and I'm really happy also to be able to share my experience with you and continue the collaboration that I have with Helen. That started, I think, 1 year and some months ago. So I'm really happy also to talk to you guys from Sierra Leone. So it's the first time I'm meeting a group of students from your country. So I have some friends there, but more in other countries than in Sierra Leone. So that's definitely the first time I'm meeting people of your age. And I think that even beyond this session, we'll be going to maintain to be in touch and then try things as probably will do. So you can move to the next slide, Helen. Yeah, so I started with this picture of someone who is on a journey on his way. It's a long way, and you can see also the statement from Steve Jobs. I'm convinced that about half of what separates the successful entrepreneurs from the non-successful ones is pure perseverance. Okay, so it's a journey. Okay, it starts somewhere, but we don't know exactly where it will stop. Okay, and it's always field of constraints, difficulties, challenges that you need to overcome so that you may have a successful life of an entrepreneur. If you think about this statement and everything that it entails inside, so you will realize that it's not easy. So you are going to have ups and downs, but ultimately that's what makes you a strong and successful entrepreneur. Next. Yeah, for my my introduction, I think that Helen sent it to you and you read it all. So I am a 2016 Mandela Washington fellow from the Obama's program for young African leaders back in 2016. So I was part of this program and it helped me a lot, into developing myself as an entrepreneur, and especially from my training at the University of Iowa, and then also my collaboration with that university that started since then and which we're still carrying out. So I'm working for the Japan International Cooperation Agency on a project in the northern part of Senegal, which is about improving rice productivity. So I'm in full touch with agriculture in the Senegal River Valley, and it just strengthens also my passion about agriculture, which I started back in 2015 or 20, yes, 2015. So yeah, I opened also on September 2019 a school, a training center that we call the Youth Empowerment School, based also in St. Louis, in the northern part of Senegal. And there we are training young people on entrepreneurship, on career coaching, on leadership and all, just to help them also find their ways as you young entrepreneurs from Sierra Leone. Next. Yeah, so where my entrepreneurship journey started, it's when I was at the university, back at my third year at the university. So my training is typically the training of someone who who went through an English department. Okay, so I was at the English department at Gaston Berger University in St. Louis, and you can see that it can see words for someone who has been trained in English to venture in agriculture as early as his third year at the university. So it was a friend actually who told me, so you see the relevance of getting some link. So a friend told me that there was a program in agriculture that was funded by the US Embassy in Dakar through USAID. Okay, I applied. I was not in agriculture, but I had some fellows who were there. And despite my limited knowledge in agriculture, I applied. I went through the training, and then there was a final grant. I applied, and then I was the one who won the grant. Okay, so you can see. So my fellow who were in agriculture, who know everything about that, so they were not selected. I was the one who got selected. I was lucky, probably. I was there at the right moment. So these are the lessons that I learned. To be lucky to seize the opportunity, the audacity also to go beyond his own domain. Okay, so I went out of my, what they say, comfort zone, if I can say it like this. So I was also determined to learn about everything, especially it was a shift. I was pivoting from my domain, which is about English studies, to really versing into agriculture. So I was learning day by day, okay, how to be a farmer, between brackets. So the ability also to have others to help you out. So I really disturbed a lot my friends that year, okay, asking them, what is the business plan? So what is agriculture exactly? What it entails, to have, an irrigation scheme, think like this. So how to make my finance, how to tie them up. So all this was part of the game, and I learned a lot. So I was really also, I had the will, the determination to learn, and I will also commit it. If I was not committed, I would not reach that step. Next. Yeah, so I went through that program, and I thought I was lucky, but it really brought me a lots of problems. So that's where the problem started. I was happy, to get the grant, but the grant was really, it was a small amount of money, less than, $1,000. Okay, so you could see what I could do with that amount. So and I had to deliver, because, as you know, if you got a grant from the U.S. Embassy in Dakar or one of its organizations like USAID, so they will follow you up, okay, on a daily basis. And I had to find other financial resources, okay, to just tell them that you gave me the opportunity, so I will also show you that I deserve to be given that opportunity. So I started using my own resources, my own financial resources as a student. But I realized that I could not make it myself. So I was obliged to contact people to give me some land, others to give me some inputs like the menu, the fertilizers, the seed. So I had, I started to move, okay, to be in touch with people. Some of them asked me money. Some of them told me that I can give you this, but maybe in 3 months you have to reimburse me. So I started bringing myself into trouble. It was not easy. So, and I realized that I was changing. I was no longer that timid student at the university, but I started moving out. So going on the field, moving downtown to meet people, to find, to look for my inputs. So I was focused. I was also stressed, because USAID was calling, making, the follow-up day by day or week by week. So I was, and I realized that I had some responsibilities. Okay, next. Yeah. Next. Next.
I'm sorry, I'm going backwards. Okay.
Yeah, going back. Yeah, definitely, to tell you the truth, it was not successful, that first experience, because I did not master the environment, so local farmers to take my supply, people with whom I was contracting, you know, those guys I took to work on the field, what we call the workers, so the manpower itself. So I got into a lot of troubles. So I did not succeed, but I knew that I put all my energy, everything I had on the experience. And the report I was drafting, the control that have been done by USAID, they all prove that I did my best, okay? But I had to go through this experience. And I realized that I need to invest. So in a better way, in a more organized way, I thought about something bolder, the small area I was cultivating, this was just for around $1,000. So it was insufficient if I wanted to make money for myself. So I really started using my resources, asking my parents to help me in. So I acquired my land. So I started installing my own irrigation scheme, and then I started building my network. So things need to get back. So that's the statement aside, so that you can have them right. So if I did not start, I would never know, all that is inside the sector, the supply chain, the inputs, everything. I would never. But now it's okay. It's yeah. I focus and the results start emerging. Next. So profit is another thing actually. So when you start, definitely the money may not come immediately, okay, overnight. It's impossible. So you have to spend money, okay? It will be difficult. So you will disturb your parents, all your friends that I need to be helped, okay? But be focused. Don't put all your mind on the money that you will be generating. So it may come, but not that immediately. So experience is something really interesting because you start mastering the figures, the supply chain, everything that is inside. So I realized that I was not making profit, but I was securing the investment that I made. Year by year, I could find back that the investment, that the money is there. So which showed that the management was good. I was mastering the environment at least. I had some, power on people working for me. And that was something good, even though the money was not yet pouring out. And I started seeing the result because at the end of the campaign, if you realize that you have no loss, it means that the coming year you could put it in the next step. So regular sustainable profit is far better than temporary success. Okay, you may do it 1 year, it's very good, it seems to be good, and then it's not sustainable. But if you do it in a way that you are sure that it will be sustainable, it will move. So that's the best thing that you can have. Next. Yeah, and you can see the picture. That's rice cultivation scheme in Senegal, as you can see it, and it proves really, it is a testimony to the result that I had. And after all this journey, from where I started to where I am now. So I'm really focused. I'm really mastering the environment. I have the company, I have the space, I have workers there. So I know how to monitor them. I know how to cover the process from the beginning to the end at its campaign of the season. Next. Yeah, so I could do this because there was a life-changing experience. So the Mandela Washington Fellowship Program. I think most of you know about this program. So I could not get selected into that program if I was not an entrepreneur, okay, working for myself. So doing my own efforts. So wasn't it these experiences that I had, I would have never been selected for this program. It was due to my entrepreneur endeavors. So the fellowship itself, it boosted my leadership skills. I did not realize that I had them, but it awakened me to what I could do. So it's really a program that is interesting, and it's not the same program. You can find similar programs like the one Ellen is conducting with you. Okay, it will rise a lot of things that were dormant into your spirit. But once you go through the training, once you get that open mindedness, so you will start seeing the result. And then it brought me a large network of people, organizations, opportunities that every day I'm seeing. And then I started really knowing, I started, interacting with people, with networks, and I realized that almost every month or every week I can stumble on an opportunity on which I can try to, yeah. So it gave me also the guidelines of a servant leader, skillful entrepreneur. So entrepreneurship is one thing, but it will amount to nothing if you don't align it with the values that you need. Okay, so you will be meeting people, you will be running programs. If you don't have the ethical conduct that is needed, so you will not go, you will not have an impact on your community. It's good being someone who have a lot of money, yes, but it's far better to be someone who is impacting in his community. Okay, you can have a business idea that is very good, that is saving lives, but it doesn't prevent you from, observing these values that makes you a role model for your community, for your country and for the world. So it gave me also the resolute spirit of an entrepreneur. You need to innovate. If your idea is not good, if it doesn't fit to your environment, okay, if it is not responding to a specific problem, so probably it will not live longer. Okay, so the impact on your community, what impact you can have on your community. So the constant vigor, determination that you have constantly, and also to try things, okay, to experiment things. It doesn't mean that any idea you experiment will be successful, okay? But the fact of experimenting over and over and over will bring you one day to the best idea that you could test, and then that you can implement. So this is a program that really impacted on me. So I will advise you to have similar programs. So be open, try to reach out, get informed of existing programs, of grants in your country, of trainings, of everything that can boost your entrepreneurial senses. Okay, next. Yeah, impacting the youth employment school in Senegal. So as I told you, I'm working for the Japanese corporation, but I knew that I could do something else, okay, outside of these activities. So that's how I thought about implementing the youth empowerment school in Senegal, aiming at empowering the youth, connecting them to global opportunities and network. Because I have gone through this stage, okay? I was a young Senegalese, in a university with, employment opportunities that are really scarce, okay? And this is symptomatic of almost all African countries with the youth are facing these problems, okay? So I told myself, if I was lucky to find out a way, I could show that way out to young Senegalese, students, entrepreneurs, and so. So we are connecting them with the local communities to global opportunities. So we bring them, we inform them about existing programs, existing trainings. We give ourselves our own trainings, and then we try to connect them with other people, okay? So we are valuing our personal efforts, okay? I did everything. So because I had the means, I funded the school. Everything is from me. It's not it's not it's not the routine. So if you can't do it, it's okay, but sometimes you may not do it and then you appeal to others. You have to work it out. But for this experience, I had everything at my disposal. So I could open the premises, I could find everything that I needed, the equipment, as you can see on the next slide, I think. Yes, so this is our team, as you can see, in a meeting that we were conducting, and these are the pictures that we took. And this is just to show you what we invested. This is one of the rooms, so we have up to 4 rooms in the center, and we have also some equipment for video conferencing, printing, access to the Wi-Fi, and then also we invite sometimes the students to come and work in our spaces. And we are really impacting the community in St. Louis, in the city we live in. We have a collaboration with the university. We have a collaboration also with the government agencies that are working on the youth sector. Next. So what matters, I think, after all this, so I did not tell you about everything I'm in, okay? Because recently I and my wife, we opened a restaurant that is also working with some friends also. Last December, we create another business. We had a company, we established a company working on decoration and on events planning and something like this. So I'm constantly moving, trying to experiment things, okay? I would not advise you probably to do that. Be focused as much as you can, and then by the time you are able to extend, so you can do everything that you want. But don't forget, don't open many windows that you cannot control, okay? Be on a space or on a domain that you are really able to work on. And later on, if you can extend this to other domains, so you are mostly welcome. But don't be too, up to losing even where you started. So be informed. I think Helen talked about this. Be informed about your milieu, your environment, okay? Have some training. You cannot be an entrepreneur if you don't have the training in entrepreneurship. How to design a business model, okay? How to work out your figures. So you need at least some training. So be curious also in a positive way, okay? Be ready to learn everything that comes on your desk, okay? Sorry. So find people, networks, people like Helen, for instance, who can, connect you to other networks, initiatives. Also have mentors. I'm sorry. I think I need to drink. So you need also to have mentors, okay? People who will tell you you are in the right direction, okay? People who tell you that you will overcome all the constraints that you are facing, okay? People, from which you can see, a role model or something like this. So rely on your strengths. Most entrepreneurs think that whenever you start a business, so you will get external funding. It may not be the case, okay? You guys rely on what you can do, okay? People will value you only when they know that you are someone who is able really to find things by his own, okay? And then they can push you up. But if you think that everything will come from others, so that's not the case, okay? That's not the case. And don't also think that everything is about money, okay? You are meeting someone, an investor, and think that so he will give you a lot of money. No, it doesn't work like this. Rely on yourself, value yourself, start building things for yourself, and anyone who finds you in this will help you, okay? Be open-minded, okay? Because you are in business, so you are meeting people from different backgrounds, okay? So you have to be open-minded, okay? Be determined and have what we call the positive mental attitude, okay? Positive mental attitude. So you will not succeed overnight. You may lose money, you may lose some of your most skillful stuff, okay? You may have social problems, okay? Familial problems, but always have that positive mental attitude. Okay, experience comes first before profit. That's also important. Experience comes first before profit. So read a lot, document yourself a lot. So if you are an entrepreneur, so you need to read, okay? About books of successful entrepreneurs, okay? I have some of them that I always keep with me, for instance. This is the leadership challenge. Although it is about leadership, but it's about, business, because the successful entrepreneur is a leader. I'm reading sometimes some models also, people who can, as you can see, this is the last book from Barack Obama, A Promised Land, okay? And so on and so on. So you need to read a lot, okay? To document yourself a lot. So you also need to have values and principles, okay? No matter how much money you want, so you should have it in values, in respect, in honesty, hardworking, be transparent also. So don't think that you can hide things from people. This is not possible, okay? transparency, trustworthiness, okay? Entertain, genuine relationships with people that you are meeting, okay? Don't tell them things that don't exist. Be always truthful to them. And then you will become, or you will end up being someone very reliable on whom people who has much credit. Next. And remember, that's it. An entrepreneur is someone who has a vision for something and want to create. Okay, so that's it. You have a vision of something that you really want to create, and you give yourself the materials, the motivations, the tool that will help you create that thing. Okay, and this is also really that should guide your spirit. Next. Yeah, I think that's all, guys. I have tried as best as I could to share with you, my little experience on entrepreneurship. I'm still, learning a lot from my experience. I'm learning a lot from people like Helen, from my mentors. I have mentors also, on which on whom I rely a lot, that help me sometimes when things are not clear in my mind. And yeah, and I'm ready to move forward. That's it. It's not easy, but I'm sure you can make it, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ameth. That was such a good presentation and very helpful. I want to make sure that they're able to ask you some questions. So do you guys have any questions about his work, his experience, mental attitude, thoughts, anything?
Yeah,
Go ahead, Samuel. We can hear you.
yeah. Hello, once again.
Hello, yeah.
Yeah, really, as a young man, you have tried a lot. You have created a huge move anyway. I would like to commend you for that. Really
you.
appreciate all what you said. It is really noted. Noted. So
Thank
my thinking is that you're really facing a lot of challenges because reason being your study at the university compared to what you are doing now is quite different, right?
Yes, true.
So as Ellen said the last time, I say some of what we are going through right now, it might be different as the time goes. Yeah, now I feel it and I've learned a lot of it because it's really difficult when cause you did at the university and when it comes to the corporate world, you eventually decided to change. A lot of challenges, a lot of backups and all has been poured on you, but you keep the good fight and yet you have been a successful man in your own field. So what are those key challenges you facing of which you felt so regret of up to now? So I want to know what are those skills you felt regret of up to now you are moving as the entrepreneur.
The great challenges I have been facing.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. So I should respond right now, or shall I wait? Or I can respond.
Go ahead, respond.
Yeah. That's. I think the challenges they depend of each stage. Okay. Stage. Finding something that you have created. It's really difficult actually, because you may think that it's obvious when you start, and then when you jump in you realize that there are a lot of problems that you never knew before, and this is the first challenge. having a hostile environment. The hostile environment. Okay, it doesn't mean that it's hot. No, it's because inside the sector, sometimes you have people who are working already and who will not make it easy for you. The competitors, for instance, those who are in the supply chain, for instance. And I think the first challenge is, or will remain, to have sufficient information, okay? Sufficient information. Most of the time we think that we know the realities, but we need to really dig inside to see exactly what these realities are, okay? For instance, I want to have a company, a printing company, yeah. Just a random example, okay? So I think that I will make money. And then I don't realize that how many people are already working in the industry. Do I have, the clients, the contractors, for instance, that will give me money immediately? Should I rely only on those random people, students in Africa usually, who comes at printing shops and go on? So do we have professional printing houses, which will attract more big companies than we should, okay? So the first challenge is getting the right information and sufficient information, because we are lazy sometimes to do the research, the market research, okay? Most of the time we say, yes, we have conducted the research. Yeah, we know exactly what it is. But actually, you need to be very careful. Because if you are interviewing people, you should interview enough people to have, a cluster that will tell you that, yes, this is really the trend that I was looking for. But from my experience, whenever I ask students, have you really done the market research? They will tell me, yes, we have done, we have. And then I ask them, or sometimes I even Google something, and then I can see a lot of data, companies doing the same job that they are doing. And they never knew about this. So I told them that this is not normal. So the second thing is also sometimes the challenges are related to the business environment, okay? Mostly in Africa. So when you are establishing a company, so you are not thinking about the regulations, okay? Because I mean, in another country or in developed countries, so this would be the first thing that I would do, okay? But in Africa, you can have your company and operate up to 3 years. No one will come and ask you, okay? Why are you operating? Where are your figures? Okay, did you comply with taxation? But you can be unlucky one day, so the tax service, the fisc, they will come and ask you where are your figures and where, and that's where the problem starts, because you never kept it, in an organized way, okay? And sometimes also creating a business is very difficult. I mean, the governments are doing a lot of efforts, okay? But it may still be difficult to create the right company that you want. Most of the time, if you don't pay attention, they will work you through a process that you create a company that you would not want to create, okay? The type. So the business environment sometimes also is not conducive, okay? And you need to be patient, okay? You need to be patient. Go through it, ask as many people as you can, rely on the expertise of some advisor or mentors. They will show you the way out. But getting the information and the business environment sometimes are the challenges that we mostly face.
Great. Thank
Yeah.
you, Ameth, and thanks, Samuel, for posing that question. Zainab or Mohammed, do you guys have any questions?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I just want to, thanks very much, sir. As you are trying to say, you are a student and you are being motivated to go in for this agricultural project work. You know that as an entrepreneur, one of our difficulties is the land issue, land tenure system. So how do you manage to acquire the land? Do they lease it to you, or the community people just give you for a period of time after your agricultural work or project, you hand over the land, or what? How will you be managing your time at the
Yes.
same time your studies and you are doing the cultivation, the agricultural work project?
Yeah. For the land governance, it varies from one country to another, actually. Okay. It's really a complicated issue. I know that a lot of entrepreneurs are facing problems related to land acquisition. Okay. The land tenure system is sometimes very complicated. You may even buy a plot of land and in 2 months, the government agencies may come and take it back. Or the landowner will pull from nowhere and tells you that this is my land. And that makes it really complicated. But in countries like Senegal, actually, what we do is that you can buy your land, okay? There is a process, a full process, and you need to be very careful also when you are in this process, okay? No fake documents, reliable government stuff, okay? And agencies or directions, they will give you the papers that you need. But you can buy it, okay? In Senegal, you can buy land if you comply with the regulations, and then each year you will be paying taxes and things like this. But it's not difficult to get it in Senegal. I have colleagues from Nigeria and Ghana. It's more complicated for them, the way they get it. I probably it's the French system, the Francophone system is it's easier to get land. But I have heard stories in Nigeria or in Ghana in which it's really complicated to get land. But the advice I would give is if you can have it by your own, it's better, okay? If you want really
Yes,
to
sir.
farm, be in agriculture, so have it by your own, okay? So that it is your title deed, okay? In your
Yes,
name,
sir.
or because if you are farming 1-2 years, you are renting the land, the plot, and then you give it back. So all the fertilizers that you had, all the way you master it, the management of the scheme, you will lose it and you will start again, okay? So if you
Yes,
can
sir.
get it, procure it and make it your own, so that's better. It can be a complicated process, but I think also it's worth of it, getting it by your own. And that it can be expensive, that's true, but you can always find the means. If you have some money, or then rely on a relative or on a parent or on a program, or things like this. Start easy and easy, and then until you have your land. But it's complicated. It's complicated. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Did that answer your question, Zainab?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Mohammed, do you have any questions?
Well, hello.
Samuel, did you
Yeah,
have a
hello.
question?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
just want to tag on his life-changing experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a life-changing experience. Just the life-changing experience impacting, right?
Mm-hmm.
What decided to impact to improve the life of others. Like what I saw from his write-up, I saw empowering the youth, connecting them to opportunities and networks.
Uh-huh.
Am I right?
Yes.
Empowering the youth, connecting them to opportunities and networks. So how you decided to come about empowering the youth and connecting them to opportunities and this network, you rightly said. So how you came about it? Because it's really difficult. There are times in order to help, people might come, just give a flash, and yet they decided to give a closing hand to your project or what you came up with. So, in regardless to that, in relation to that, I just want to know how did you connect them to this opportunity and network, of which did they give an open hand to it?
Yeah, I get the point.
Okay.
I get the point. Yeah. In terms of opportunity, sometimes, most of the times we get across opportunities in our daily professional or in our networks. And these opportunities, it's not everyone who can get them. Okay, maybe I'm in a mailing list with some people from across the world. Okay, maybe I'm in touch with the U.S. Embassy in Dhaka. We have programs, we have opportunities. And most of the time, the thing is that those who receive these opportunities, they never share them, okay? We have networks, we have opportunities going on, but actually we don't take time to share them. And sometimes it's not even opportunities for us, but it is opportunities for others. I don't know if you get the point. For instance, I might see a program which is specifically designed for people who are 25 years, 8 and 25 years. I am past that age, okay? So I can post that at my office, on my Facebook page, or in our website, and then anyone who is interested will come and help and ask us. Now, if you want to be someone who is affiliated to the center, you will pay a fee, okay? But it is just a kind of symbolic fee, like 20,000 per year. So you are in our mailing list, so you are connected to our platforms, and then you can have these opportunities. And once you identify a specific opportunity on which you want to participate, so you will give you the coaching that you need, okay? We cannot guarantee you though that you will get selected, but we will train you and give you the necessary materials and equipments that will help you be one of the best competitors for that opportunity, okay? So that's the way we do it. So no one can come actually and take our place. It's not possible, because our vision is not, to let people do that, but we want more to serve, okay? To get them past the way we have, the way we went through, okay? If there is a program, so that they can also be part of that program and then go and impact in their communities or create their own businesses, okay? And we can play a role in this. And as you said, it's not easy for me to be, doing all these tasks, but my primary job is that I am at the Japanese corporation, but I have staff in the center, so who are running the business, okay? We have an assistant, we have people who are not fully employed. Well, for instance, when I have a program on like opportunities in Senegal, I can appeal to a friend who will come for 2 hours and then do the presentations, ask questions, and then he will go. And we will have another lecture like this. For the agricultural business, so I have people working there specifically, okay? We have people who are exploiting the scheme. So we have someone who is taking care of the logistics and everything. And every week after my work, I go there, or during the weekends, I go and I supervise. And now I have enough experience to be able to supervise the process from the start to the end. But I could not do that when I started. But now I have people, a staff on which whom I trust, so I know how to monitor the situation. And this also, I learned it from other people. I saw doing, many things at the same time. I learned it seeing people doing that. But it doesn't mean that you need to be everywhere, okay? That also can make you fail sometimes. You need to balance it. As long as you can do it, so that's good, okay? If you cannot, please focus on one thing. Right. I think I covered your point.
Yeah, I got it right.
Yeah.
Great. Mohammed, I just want to see if you have any last questions. Let's see, maybe he can't hear, or maybe he can hear us, but maybe it's not a quiet place. Okay. Well, I just want to respect your time, Ameth, and thank you so much. I thought this was so great. I'll send you the recording, and is it okay if I share your contact information if they have additional questions or
Sure. Yeah,
just looking
sure.
to connect the network? Yeah.
Yes, sure.
Okay, great. Well, thank you guys for joining, and thanks
you.
again, Ameth, for being our guest speaker. This was really great. I'm sure everybody's going to find a lot of value. And thanks for joining earlier and helping me explain a little bit more about the business plan. And I'll definitely follow up with you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. It was a pleasure. Thank you, and keep in touch. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. We are really appreciate, and we have learned a lot from you.
Thanks.
And pray by God's grace, we shall keep the bond together and we shall be connecting.
Great.
So yeah, appreciate it a lot. Okay.
All right. Thank you, guys. So we'll see you guys next week. Thanks, Ameth.
Thanks.
Have a good
Thank
rest
you very
of your
much.
weekend.
Thank you. Okay, thanks.
Okay. Bye, Zainab. Bye, Mohammed.
Okay.